Hello, once again. It's been long overdue, this upload. Usually I do one around once a month, but the last month, 5-6 weeks have been extremely busy for me because it seems like almost every spare moment I've had has been devoted to packing base communion CD orders. That's how it's been since the release date of that album, the itself at the end of May. And for the last 2 weeks or so, I've even been contending with people chasing up their orders as well. Excuse me, I'll just turn this music down. And so I've also, had additional emails to deal with as well. I'm not complaining. It's been fantastic, a real experience. And I still think the album's wonderful. I think everything I release is wonderful. I wouldn't do it otherwise. And I really mean that as well, I went to the post office today with another 25 packages of base communion CDs, and I think I've got around 40 or 50 piled up here ready to go on Monday and Tuesday next week. So it's the 12th of July today, coincidentally my birthday as well. So usually I don't really I don't feel feel my age, or the idea of getting older at all, but I would say the last 5-6 weeks I feel absolutely haggard, just simply because I'm addressing packaging base communion CDs. But again, the last copies are going early next week. So I worked out a few days ago that because a couple of people have said, "Oh, it's been 2 months since since this was released." That's not true. And I worked out, because there are only 5 available days for me to go to the post office, and I do go every day. So Monday to Friday. The local post office is not open on Saturdays. So there are places in Krakow that are open. I think there's even 1 or 2 24/7 ones, but I don't live near them. So I live outside of Krakow, and I depend on a small local branch of the post office. And that's only available 5 days a week. And the second week of into the release of this base communion CD saw a long weekend here, and I only had 3 available working days to actually go to the post office. It was a 4-day weekend. Many places were closed on the Friday. So the national holiday was on the Thursday, and many places decided to take the Friday off as well. So I had 3 days that particular week. So that was the first week of June, I think. No, the last week of May. So, and then I've had all of June, and now we're up to the second week of July. And I've had hundreds and hundreds of these base communion CDs to send out, and no word of a lie. That's how many there've been. If you've been paying attention, you might know that I had to order another 500 CDs just to keep up with some of the demand. As it happens, yesterday, when I was doing a count of the remaining CDs to go and packaging up the last few for the pile to go out next week, I had to refund 4 or 5 people their money, because I had orders earlier in the week and I thought I could fulfill those orders, but I couldn't. So all the base communion CDs have gone from me. So what I'm saying to anybody who still wants the base communion album is go to Drone Records in Germany. You can find them easily enough. Drone in Germany. Yeah, find them easily enough on Google. Drone Records in Germany still have stock. Who else? Clear Spot in the Netherlands, I think. And might be Sound Dome in Italy have still got 3 copies as well. And you know, even if you're from the UK or whatever, it's still worth ordering direct from those places. Remember, I live in Poland, so it doesn't really make any difference regarding sending something from the continent to Britain or anywhere else. But yeah, these places still have copies. Clear Spot in the Netherlands. Are they in the Netherlands? Out of print, maybe. They might still have some out of print in Belgium, but maybe not. Drone definitely in Germany, and Sound Dome in Italy. I checked my stock on their website yesterday. They still have 3 copies, and I started thinking, maybe I could negotiate with them or Drone to return some copies to me, but it's just a pain in the arse. Plus, they've got different postage rates, and they're retailing for higher than my original retail price, so it just became too much of a mind fuck for me to deal with. You know, I don't want to be sending extra money to Drone or Sound Dome just so they can then send oblige a CD order to the UK on my behalf. You know, I don't want to be sending more money than what I initially sold the CDs to them for. So yeah, I'm just redirecting people at the moment, and I'm completely out. I've got my own. I've got 2 personal copies. I've got 1 spare copy for a guy who, again, is in England, and we think his original CD has gone astray. I'm keeping 1 for him, and that's it. And I think I'll have to send that to him as well, because it was sent so long ago. I think it's gone missing, and I think 2 or 3 did go missing as well. So there we are. Base Communion has kept me busy since late May, and of course in May I had the 3rd label event at Cafe Otto in London as well, and it's really hot here. So that was on the 18th of May, and it went really, really well. I think the lineup was good. It was an interesting mix of artists. Everyone seemed to get on all right. The audience seemed receptive to everything that was going on. It was full until the end of ATV. So maybe a few people had to leave for the last train or whatever, to meet connections or whatever. But it was a complete success. The busiest label event in London that I've done so far, completely sold out. And of course, Stephen Wilson, his involvement with that tipped the balance. But most of the tickets had gone before we even announced him. And I think, I've not asked him about this, but I think one of the reasons he held back until the last minute almost with announcing Base Communion being on the bill was because of that, because I think he just knew people would just go for him, for his set, which was with Franz Navard as well, and very good. And so once he announced his appearance, the remaining, I think, 140 tickets had gone. 150, the remaining 30 or 40 just went seemingly overnight. and I felt a bit sorry for him really, because there are all these people just kind of flocking around him. I couldn't be done with that. Not unless they make change gun laws or something. So or a machete. So I don't really have psychopathic or homicidal. I'm joking. Homicidal tendencies, but I really couldn't be done with that. It's funny, really. I was out with a friend a week or so ago, and I said, the problem for me with these kind of events in London is that so many of my friends, of whom some go back to my teenage years, and they kind of went through the punk wars with me, the post-punk years and whatever. We used to go to lots of gigs together in the early 80s and whatever, early to mid 80s and beyond as well. Some of these friends try to come along they do come along to my events in London, and I also get to meet other people that that I've known over the years and pretty close to, and so on and so forth. So my own my only problem, if you can call it thus, is that I don't have enough time for everybody at these things. So it sounds awful, and I'm not an egoist or anything, but I do, I've met a lot of people over the years because of my various activities, and it's nice, meeting people. So, but I also get, maybe a taste of what Stephen Wilson gets, because people are coming up to me at Otto, and they're people that have ordered things from me, and introducing themselves and trying to have a chat. At the same time, I'm trying to catch up with a close friend I haven't seen for a long time, for over a year or whatever. So that's the only problem. I don't have enough time for everybody, and I know how that sounds, but I'm glad it only happens for me at those kind of events, but otherwise, it was really good, and I'm going to do another event at Otto. I know they have their detractors. Who doesn't? And I understand some of the criticisms, but I think it's a really well-run venue in London, and it's a great space. They treat the performing artists really well as well. It's very rare that you find anywhere in London any venue that will give anything to the artists. These people pay, and they give discount on the bar, and free coffee and tea, all as much as you want all evening. So not free alcohol, of course, but discount. So you can get a beer for, I think we were paying £3.50, which in London is incredible, because you can pay £6-7 in some pubs in London now. It's ridiculous. If anyone can afford to get drunk in a pub in London, then they've got money. So don't let them convince you otherwise. Anyway, a huge success, and I'm going to do another one on the 25th of October next year. Not this year, next year. And I think Splintered will play again, and I think Kleistvar will be on the bill. So Gary Mundy's solo endeavour. And I've got somebody else in mind to appear, and I think I'll keep it to the 3 artists as well. Simply because when you have 4 groups or artists on one bill at Otto, it's difficult to cram everybody in. And we had Chris Lowe doing the DJing between sets. He had about 10 minutes, I think, so it wasn't much. It'd be nice to have a little more space between the artists, and even if it's only 15-20 minutes, and also a chance for each artist to play longer as well. That would be nice, because Splintered, my group, and Edward Caspell condensed our sets to 30 minutes, and we could have done, my group could have done with another 10, 15 minutes, 12 minutes maybe. Our songs are pretty long generally as well, and we kind of trimmed them down, so just to fit. We wanted to do 5 songs because we wanted to include 2 new ones, and they're all kind of edited versions, which I wasn't happy about. I wasn't personally happy about, because I'm just starting to get into it after a few minutes. So, but the video, all of the sets were filmed, and there is a video of that on the YouTube channel of the Splinter concert. There's also one of ATV as well on their channel, or is it their own channel, or Sniffing Glue's channel on YouTube? I'm sure you could just do a search and find it. I haven't even had a chance to look at it yet, and I'm really keen to as well, because again, even when bands are playing, people are trying to talk to me, when and that's interesting really, because I was talking to Mark Perry a week or so ago, and he was asking whether I'd be interested in doing a stall at the forthcoming ATV show in London in November, where they play with Sutcliffe Jugend. And I was thinking about it, and initially thinking, oh yeah, it's maybe a chance to push a few records and books and whatever. But I just know it means I'll end up not being able to see much of ATV. So maybe I'll just go as a punter. I don't know. I need to think about that a little more. But yeah, it would just be nice. And I'm not really into Sutcliffe Jugend. So yeah, the idea of leaving after ATV play to go back to my parents, probably, near Winchester on the train, is quite attractive as well. Sorry, Sutcliffe Jugend. Well, I'm not sorry. Don't like it. So, yeah. So I'm considering that as well. But anyway, I'm going off track. I'm here really to push 2 new releases that have happened since the Bass Communion album. One is this Reverse Image and Thomas William Bailey, Tokokawa. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct or not. Probably not. Really nice design by Thomas himself. Great music. Only 3 songs on there. Oh, yeah. So my wife is just letting in some air into the room. We've got the air conditioning on because it's so hot, and it's and I closed the door so she wouldn't have to listen to my rambling. But she just kindly opened it, and our little dog just came in as well and said hello and fucked off again. But anyway, let's get back to this. Great design by Thomas. Great music, 3 tracks, and what can I say? It's kind of organic electronics, a merging of digital and analog. I think there's analog sources, and then they're fed into digital processing, which is kind of a standard these days, to be honest. But nonetheless, given that most people use computers and computer studios and software, there's not really much escaping digital. But anyway, there are analog electronic sources on here, and I'm just checking the dog. Yeah, she's gone because I've got to pack some boxes soon, and she's already chewed a big roll of tape. So anyway, there we are. I keep getting distracted. That looks good, and there's an Obi strip there. I'm not going to open it, but if you do open it, it looks fantastic as well. The inside design looks good. My problem with this is one of the copies for sale actually, but the problem with opening, there's my own one. and well, I've got 2 copies, but this one I was playing. Oh, yeah, I played this recently, and I found it to be a struggle to get into to return to the plastic sleeve. So I'm not getting it out for fear of ripping it. You might not care, but I do. So I want to keep it in there for the moment. That's what it looks like. The other thing that happened that arrived last week, last Tuesday, I think it was, and I started shipping these as well. I should say I'm shipping the Reverse Image and Thomas Bay William Bailey CDs. But the other thing is, here's a clue. Nice booklet. Here's the main thing itself. Hunting Lodge Nomad Souls. Sorry if the sun's catching that. It was 37 degrees 2 days ago. Awful. I know many people love the sun and heat and doing nothing, but you know, I've said it before, I'm not a fucking lizard. I just don't like it. So 23, 24 degrees is fine for me. Spring and autumn, my favourite seasons. But I think this is the hottest summer in Poland that I've ever known, to be honest. And there are hot summers here generally, but this is exceptional. Hunting Lodge Nomad Souls, a remastered reissue of their album that came out in 84, 85. And this is in a nice, very tasty book style cover. I haven't got any other records packaged like this. The second album on here, so there's the inside of the first one. The second one is it features the Tribal Warning Shot 12-inch, again remastered, and some bonus tracks. So the whole 12-inch and some bonus material there. Again, book style. And then we've got some live stuff on the last LP, which is this one. Again, I'm not going to get the records out. There are no printed inners anyway. I mean, this is expensive enough. So, and it looks good enough. And it also comes with this. Well, I got that wrong. I initially advertised this booklet as being a freebie for pre-orders, but I then found out from Lon of Hunting Lodge that they're selling this as an add-on. You know, so if you want to buy a copy of this, you have to let me know. All the information's in the, you know, on the. What do I want to say? All the information is there in the shop and in the Hunting Lodge section. And it will be linked below. That's what I'm trying to say. The heat's got to me. Really nice booklet. Another reissue with some additional material as well. There's the back of it. The only thing I think in hindsight is, and look at that spine. Yeah, and you could kill somebody with that. The only thing I think is some of the artwork in the booklet is, well, the artwork on the cover is phenomenal as well. It would have been nice if we maybe thought about doing a print with the pre-orders or as some kind of bonus or whatever, you know, with a limited amount of copies. But it's too late now. And I'm still in the throes of shipping those. So some copies have gone out, and I've also managed to ship some to distributors, such as Out of Print, Soundome, again, Soundome in Italy, Drone, Germany, Tesco organisation in Germany. They've got copies. So a few places have got copies of this now. But I am in the middle of sending the direct orders out. But please, you know, feel free to add to the weight of the direct orders, you know. Don't have that many. I think I'll get through all of them next week. But yeah, it'd be nice to see a few more come in. It's a really nice set. Also, there are two options because I understand, times are difficult. A lot of people don't have a lot of spare income. So with that in mind, I set up a kind of split payment option. Some people have said that they find it confusing. I think it's pretty clear. You can either buy the Hunting Lodge triple LP set outright. So there's one option for that. And alternatively, you can choose a split payment method. And I think the first payment is for £28. And then you can pay the balance of £26.50 or a little more if you want the booklet a few weeks later if you want. So maybe that option will help those that find the 50 odd pounds payment for the main option too expensive. And I think a lot of people will find that expensive, so I certainly would. So that's why I thought the split payment option would make sense. And there we are. I think so. Yeah, Hunting Lodge, reverse image, base communion. Got to the end of that. Plenty of other things about to happen, but I think I'll be here again sooner rather than later, and I can do an update about what's coming in the near future as well. Maybe just very quickly, I can say there's a new Kleishvar album about to happen, and there is a Michael Cashmore CD album being worked on at the moment as well. So there you are. There are two of the things. Other things, hovering about as well. Still got the Nick Mott book and CD package to do. Really haven't had time. Maybe on that note, I ought to mention the fact that because Base Communion, and again, it's not a complaint, it's been an experience, and it's been lovely working with Stephen as well. He's a really nice guy. And I have been so immersed with this Base Communion CD, as well as other orders that I get for the last month and a half, as well as the event in London. So for 2 months, I've not been able to do much with my book activities. So the Grim Humour book is the third Grim Humour book, the third and last, is heavily delayed. I've just not had time to get back to it, but I'll be sending out an update on that very, very soon as well. And I apologize to anybody who pre-ordered it and is waiting. It will happen. It's nearly done, but I need to put the extra work in to finish it, and I just haven't had time for that. I really, really haven't. When it gets to late, mid to late evening, I'm generally collapse, and all I can do is there's a Hungarian film I've wanted to watch for a long time now, that William Bennett recommended, and I'm not even able to cope with that. I just keep looking at it and think, oh no, I don't want any film that's too deep late evening, because I'm mentally exhausted, I'm physically collapsed, and all I can do is go back to my default setting of very often cheesy and terrible and badly made horror films, something I've grown up with and and have always enjoyed as well. They're not all bad, by the way, but that's all my brain can cope with. So mid late evening, and then if I'm lucky, I can maybe get through a few pages of a book as well. That's it, and it's game over, and then the whole show starts again the following day. And on that note, I'm going to leave it there. I hope nobody's got this weather. It's diabolical. So it really is. You're in trouble if you buy an ice cream and it's melting within 1 minute. It's not a good sign. So anyway, I'll be back here in a couple of weeks or so, I think. Cheers if you made it to the end. Thanks. Bye bye.